Now we're cooking. Welcome to our second episode this week in our golf week of episodes. Welcome to Now We're Cooking, the cooking show for kids of all ages. My name is Aunt Annie.
I'm Grandma Jayne.
And if you were unable to see our first episode this week, we encourage you to do so. It is called Tea Time, as it's aptly called, for basically that's what you first have to do in a busy golf course is to even get a time to start the game of golf. And so we have now kicked off with tea time, where Jayne made us some tea first, told you how to make some other kinds of teas, flavors of teas, and we can certainly make some of those later in our episodes as well. But she also made some lemonade and put the two together, 3/4 tea, quarter of lemonade, and called it the Arnold Palmer. Now some places go half and half on that. You can certainly change it up either way for your taste. Some of more, little or less of one other. Maybe you want less tea, more lemonade, whatever you want to do. But Arnie does it apparently 3/4 and 1/4, up to half and half, all right? Now, after tea time, we're going to make a couple of things this episode. First, we're going to make homemade PUTTato chips. And then we're going to make party dip. And the reason those are fun for golf is because one of the things we do in golf, once we're finally on the green with our little white dimply ball, we use a club called a putter, and we putt or tap that ball in, depending how far away you are from the green. Chipping is something we do when we get closer to the green, again with something we call an iron, whatever iron we want to use, and we just simply chip it or pop it up into the air to get it as close as we can to the hole so we can then put it in, okay? Par, we've already talked about, has to do with what we are shooting for to get that many strokes on that many yards of that particular hole. Okay, so that's what we're going to do this time. We're going to start with the PUTTato chips first, so we can get those in the air fryer while we make the dip to put the chips into. So Jayne's going to start with the potatoes.
Okay, Annie's got this little potato scrub brush. I already did scrub this, and it's a russet that I use because russets, from what I investigated, are the best to use for potato chips. And then she has a peeler with little potatoes on it, how cute. But I usually just use, I also looked into using a mandolin, which are just too dangerous because they're on a slant with like a V blade. And no, and then I tried to use my grater at home too, and I've got my knuckle, so I'm like my good old trusty knife, which you have to be careful with too, but you can do it thin and works out just fine. I just decided I'd show you how to slice one up. Then after I get this sliced up real as thin as I can go, pretty much, they kind of turn into like a kettle chip. They're really good, tasty. And there's no preservatives or anything in these, you know, which is nice to know. You can salt them, you can season salt them, you can put other spices on them if you want to, or you can leave them plain. Annie's gonna make a party dip that will be good to dip them into, so you really don't even need any flavoring then. And also, as you get closer to the end of the potato, I've stuck a fork in it just to hold it so it's not getting my finger. So remember that too. And then I'm gonna rinse them off because there's starch on this. And I think it's better to rinse a little bit of that off in water, just clear water in my little bucket here.
I've noticed, Jayne, you didn't peel your potatoes.
No, I didn't this time. I saw where they didn't, and there's nutrition in the skin, so why not just leave it on.
So just like your baked potato kits, you can eat a baked potato with the skin on or the skin off, obviously. A lot of people, when they make potato salad, some people leave the skin on, whether they use red or russets. Some people take the skin off. It's whatever you want to do. But the skin is good for you.
I even leave the skin on when I make mashed potatoes.
I think it's
I
really
love
yum. I think so
It's my
too.
favorite part of the potato.
I do too, Megan, but a lot of people don't on mash. It's a good idea.
And then you just kind of towel dry them off, get a little bit of that excess water off them after you've rinsed them, the starch off. And starch is just a carbohydrate, but it turns to sugar, so you don't need any more of that, you know. Trying to keep it healthy, aren't we, Annie?
Yep, we don't want that juvenile diabetes rate to go up, or adult diabetes for that matter, type 2 or add to type 1. Tell us a little bit about an air fryer, Jayne. I personally haven't purchased one yet, but some friends of mine have.
Well, I've got this nice one I got a couple years ago, and I've been testing things in it, and it's really nice. You use very little grease or oil in them. You can use a little, just depending on the recipe. But like today, I'm just gonna spray the inside of this, and I had already made some in here. And then what you wanna do is spray a layer of cooking spray on potatoes as well. And then when I put them in, I flip them the other way so I can spray those before they get cooked. But you can cook, oh my gosh, I've done chicken, turnovers, leftovers are done really well in an air fryer. You can put like a breaded tenderloin in there and heat it up just like it's fresh, because everything seems to come out of it crispy. We've made delicious wedges potatoes. We've made onion rings. And today we're going to even do something else in there that you'll see. Then I just spray a little bit like that, or you can brush them with oil, or you can, several different ways. And I try not to stack things in it. I just kind of spread them out, and then if they overlap a little, that's fine. No big deal. And then I put it in, and then I gotta plug it in.
So again, after you sprayed them on the paper towel, you then laid those down with the sprayed side down. Then you could spray the upside again.
Okay. You don't have to worry about flipping them. But if you do, just be careful and use a tongue, because it does get hot as you pull the drawer open.
Okay.
And then I push, and I'm setting it for 350, and I'm gonna say 14 minutes, and it'll start. And then at any point, you can also pull it open and check them, see if they're not done enough or whatever, and it'll start back right up.
Oh, perfect.
Which is nice, yeah.
Now, just again, in case the kids are going to get into cooking, or encourage their caregivers to purchase one for the homestead.
Yeah.
What do these run? Is there a price range?
They can run from, I've seen them on sale for like $60, $70 up to $150, depending on the size. I say average that. I think mine was about 120 maybe. I can't know. But I got a bigger one. Because I thought, well, if I use it to entertain, you're going to need more room,
But, kids, when we typically think of frying things, we're talking about high heat in some kind of grease or shortening. What the air fryer is trying to do is give you the same result of what you used to put in hot grease or shortening or lard or fat.
Yeah.
And so the whole beauty of this is sometimes maybe less time,
yes,
less calories,
yeah,
less starch, well, maybe not less starch, but less fat.
And less heat.
Less grease.
And you're not going to get your whole room hot by an oven,
So it should help your heart because it'll be lower cholesterol. Okay.
Yeah,
there won't be
that's a
any
plus.
preservatives because you're making homemade potatoes versus what you're buying off the shelf for potato chips. Because if you read the bag of your potato chips of choice, you'd be surprised what's in there that you can't even identify what it is.
Yeah.
And it's probably so it can stay on the shelf longer before it has to be thrown away and they lose profit. But it's probably not stuff that's good for our bodies, that our body's supposed to even be able to break down or process, okay? Yeah. So while those are in there, a lot of times what goes with chips is a good dip. But some of us don't have chip dip in the fridge. I used to hate that as a kid. Mom didn't like to get us into that habit anyway of eating chips because, and then of course, anytime there's a sauce or a dip that adds more calories, my mom was very good about trying to keep us healthy. But it was always a treat to have chip dip. But we didn't have it often, and some of us at home still don't have it often. But if you have these ingredients at home, I just want to show you what you can do as an alternative, okay? So what I'm going to do is, a lot of people, first I have to find, a lot of people just use a pint of sour cream. I think I must have put them into the fridge. That's what I was looking for, kids. And believe it or not, it was cheaper to get 2 8 ounces versus one pint. I don't know why, but usually you have to get the larger one to get the better deal. But this time it was cheaper to get the 2 smaller. So again, you have to read and you have to add, kids. Use your math skills.
Without a calculator.
That's right. Okay. I want to say these were like $1.19 each. So that meant they were $2.38. When I looked at the pint, it was like $2.49. I thought, well, I'm gonna save me 11 cents. So what do you think of them apples?
All right. So is this a double batch you're making then?
Well, this is going to be a pint is again 16 ounces because it's 2 cups. So I just got the 2 cups here, and if you look at what's coming next, it has this recipe on there.
Oh.
So either a pint container or 2 8-ounce sour creams, or if you don't have that much, kids, in the fridge, just again adapt. Put less of other stuff in. Okay, so there's a pint. Now I got an onion soup mix here. You could follow directions and actually make the soup, or you could follow directions. Most of these have a recipe for onion dip. Is onion the only kind of dip out there? Of course not. There's dill dip, which is very, very good with vegetables. We'll be making that with you too, kids, because we all love dip. Yep. And there's vegetable dips, like spinach dip.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be making that one for sure very soon. Okay. And it also has the directions on this particular package, if I can get it open. That's another deal. I think I should have a...
Scissors?
I should have a scissors around, but I don't know. Would you, yeah, I was going to say, would you be so kind? And then I think I'm going to add something else.
Oh, that smells good. That onion soup. Oh, mix is delicious.
Now again, those soup mixes probably have plenty of sodium in them.
Yeah, probably.
But we don't know that the ones in the fridge don't either. Can you find some good part of that onion just to mince up a little bit?
Sure.
We might as well use some of that. Mmm.
Doesn't that smell good?
It does. Because I'm an onion lover. Now a friend of mine named Patrice, my good friend from California, when she's at home and when she's here with us visiting, and when I'm visiting her in California, she oftentimes doesn't use sour cream at all. And she puts some onion soup mix, or just minced onion, or green onion. Remember, you can use whatever you like best. And she uses just cream cheese. She doesn't use sour cream at all. Okay? Give me a moment.
I kind of like the combo, don't you?
Well, what I like about the cream cheese, to me, when she makes it, it's so delicious, but it's very thick.
Yeah.
Very, very thick. Even when it's softened, cream cheese, you know, is just a thicker substance than sour cream. You can tell by just how they go in there. Okay.
You could use whipped cream cheese, so it's a little lighter.
That's right. And I don't know, I think...
I've got to use that now.
Yeah. One other week when Jane and I were cooking, I didn't purposely didn't buy any more block cream cheese because I had some whipped in there from some bagels I'd had here, and I purposely used the whip to use it up. So again, kids, a lot of the kitchen is adapting to what you have. So in retrospect here, or to recap, you can use just cream cheese and some minced onion of choice. You can use just, say, a pint or 8 ounces of sour cream with onion soup mix. I'd suggest 16 ounces if you're going to use a whole packet of soup mix. But if you only have 8 ounces at home, just use half the packet of the mix, okay? And put a rubber band around the rest and put it aside. Now I've let that cream cheese soften, so you see how much easier that is, kids? Because if it's not soft, it would be fighting against me because it's chilled. Thank you, Jane, for doing that. Again, I'm just an onion lover, so you just can't really have too much. And I like the idea of some fresh some fresh with the packet.
I
Okay.
need the bench scraper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you used it?
Yeah, I just used it. I put onion in my spaghetti sauce the other day and used it.
Oh yeah.
I want to give a shout out to my niece Megan who tapes for us. She just had a birthday. Jayne and I should sing happy birthday. She turned
Yes.
24 2 days ago.
24.
24.
That's a baby.
And we can't believe it's been 24 years already. She, like her son, have brought us nothing but joy. And her brother.
I don't know about him.
He has his moments. No.
Oh, don't we all?
We all do, but they all have, all my nieces and nephews have just brought me so much joy. I can't imagine my life without them. And another shout out to my niece, Samantha, who is in the middle of her wedding ceremony right now
Really?
in Des Moines, Iowa.
On Thursday.
I was unable to go because of some legal matters I had to do in my other business, my day job.
Yeah.
I was unable to go because I had some legal matters yesterday and today that would have gotten me to Des Moines too late for her wedding. But she will make a beautiful bride.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful bride. That poor thing had to move her wedding so many times because of the virus. It was so sad. So sad.
Yeah, that is. And then are they going to take a honeymoon or? I think it'd be hard to do anything.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think they are right
Yeah.
now.
Well, even if you did, there wouldn't be anything to do because everything's closed down.
Yeah.
They're so limited that they're probably
Might as
going to
well
table that.
Wait.
Yeah. Are they even doing cruises? I don't think so.
Oh, I don't think so.
But the casinos in Las Vegas have opened? Is that true?
I think so.
But it's real restricted.
But a lot of
They can't
restaurants you
smoke, they
can't eat in, and like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I
you
heard
couldn't even
that
go out to eat. For a
I
nice
heard
meal.
that
Yeah.
that one local one doesn't require masks. One local one does require masks. They both are still allowing smoking, which would be a little tricky with a mask.
I didn't think they were because of that, but they are, huh? Ugh.
According to one of my sources, but
It's
they
like
could be
lift
wrong.
it up and those diehards, they'll do it.
Well, I
again.
wouldn't think they would just because of what comes out of your mouth when you
Yeah.
smoke, but
Exactly.
maybe my source was misinformed. That wouldn't be any. That'd be a good thing to
I
wipe
can't
out
remember
regardless
what it is
of the
now.
COVID
Yeah, definitely.
for people's health.
Okay,
How are we
these are
coming?
almost ready. It's like 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Now,
Yeah.
once they come out, does it require, because there's no grease or fat, do they have to be drained?
Nope.
Nope. And so
They're usually crispy, crunchy. I don't know if you want that whole,
that's.
but
Do you intend to salt them?
we haven't been. So should we leave them unsalted or just lightly?
It's up to you. But if they were salting at home, what kind of salt would you suggest?
I just use a regular salt, but you can use a
Sea salt.
sea salt would be. That's what I use at home.
I'd use Lowry's salt too. I know you don't really like Lowry's.
Yeah,
but
I'm not
I
a
love,
Lowry's
I love
one
Lowry's on everything.
Do you?
So
Well,
I put
again,
Lowry's on them.
That's
but
like
Jayne,
a seasoned salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
yeah.
got sick on seasoned fries one time, so.
Megan brought up a good point though. Once again, if you're a Lowry's fan or a seasoned curly fry fan or a seasoned type of lover, then put Lowry's on it. Some
Yeah.
people, I think, put cheddar cheese,
Ranch
Oh yeah, you
seasoning.
can do
ranch
you can probably put
seasoning,
on
cheddar
popcorn
cheese seasoning,
yeah.
like popcorn
You
cheese
can put
seasoning.
even like herbs. You
I
can
like
put
a little
parsley
sea
or
salt.
thyme on them. if you
Yes,
want to.
anything you wanted. Now, of course, the common thing to
Rosemary.
put on potato chips is salt. So like last week, again, if I were going to salt these, Jayne suggested you can use regular salt, like table salt, but because like for last week for our pretzels, we bought coarse sea salt, kosher sea salt.
Mhm.
We have that as well. If Jayne wanted to, whatever she chooses, these are her chips, but we've been watching our sodium intake.
Yeah.
So we are very unlikely to add any salt, but we are unusual. Most people would want to add salt to these
Yeah.
of
And
some
I
kind.
use sea salt to my popcorn
Oh yeah.
with butter. I do. Just
Well,
a
since
little.
we're dipping it, we might not need to.
I think let's try it without
Yeah.
and see what happens.
Let's see.
What the heck? Yeah. It looks like 1 minute. I can hear them in there.
I can do.
So
It's just amazing to me.
we'll just sprinkle them out onto the plate.
Woohoo! And
that'd be the perfect time to add salt or something,
Yeah.
cling
Yep.
to it.
yes, while they're hot and while they have some kind of a moisture finish
Mhm.
to them.
Mhm.
Now, just like the pretzels, when they're wet or would take some kind of coating, now would be the time to season them as you choose.
Mhm.
Okay, now they don't seem to have changed shape or anything, do
And
they?
they're hot, and for the kids that would use this, make sure you don't touch the inner lining right away, because that's hot. Like I dumped them out. But if you wanted to take and take them out with a tong or something, just be careful you don't touch that because it's hot. And let them sit just a little bit because they're too hot they'll burn your mouth.
Okay, so
and then we'll try it.
yes.
Yeah.
So essentially, we thought this would be a good thing to do together. In fact, Jayne was the mastermind that said, basically, we're making a meal today. We're making beverages, we're making chips and dip, and our next thing will be more of an entree, if you will. Next thing will be kind of a dessert or something you could have for breakfast before you go golfing. And our last thing will be a certain nothing but, I would say, dessert that has to do with golf. So, any rate, whenever you're ready to dive in there, give it a whirl.
Go ahead. I'll let you be first. Let's see what you think.
So just
And you can get them crispier than that. That was like 14 minutes, I think.
now again, I'm not going to double dip.
And I like them like the kettle chip type thing.
I like the cream cheese and the sour cream together. It's a nice consistency, and the cream cheese makes the sour cream a little richer without being too thick. I like the two together.
And I like the ones that aren't as crispy. What do you prefer?
I want to go ahead
Because
and
I was only plugging
give our
in there.
filmer a
Yeah.
try.
Have her try it. And I can put them in a little longer too.
Okay.
Okay.
And signing off, Jayne, what would you say to the kids today?
Okay. Be kind to each other and be kind to yourself as well. And be safe, and we love you.
Absolutely, we do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times people are going to come at you with problems or things without yelling. Where you know to duck your head or where you know to get out of the way. Life is just like that, kids. Life is going to throw you some curveballs. To bring in last week's episode of baseball, you aren't always ready for it. You don't always get a lot of warning, but once again, every problem has a solution. You've got lots of loved ones in your support system that can help you solve those problems if you can't solve it yourself. And let's just solve those problems as they come up to try to keep our stress down, our anxiety level down. And again, if you're having trouble with that, there are professionals and people can help you with that too. It's nothing to be ashamed of. We've all had times of depression or anxiety, and it's okay. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just better to keep our mental health in check before it hurts our physical health, okay? So we hope to see you next time in one of our next golfing episodes of Now We're Cooking.